Hey, what's up guys, Diplex here again, and welcome back to the Totaler Krieg mod. Do not forget to leave a like if you would like to see some more epic Totaler Krieg battles. Today's battle is based on the Donbass strategic offensive in the summer of 1943. Will the 1st Panzer Army arrive to the battle in time to help the outnumbered 6th Army? We'll find out very soon. We're also going to take a quick look at the German defenses before starting the battle. All of this after a quick message from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by The Ridge. The Ridge offers high quality and minimalistic wallets available in a variety of different colors and awesome materials. I received one in carbon fiber and one in black titanium. They both look amazing and contain absolutely everything I need to have in my wallet, with space for even more cards. What I really like about these wallets is that they streamline and simplify your pockets, removing room for unnecessary junk paper and receipts, which you can get online most of these days. They also have a really cool tactical and militaristic look. They just don't look like a regular wallet. Adding and removing cards to your wallet is just as easy as it looks, and the sturdy build keeps all the cards secure inside. I really hope you'll take a look at the site linked in the description box below. There are so many variants of this wallet and they all have their unique feel and look. I'm sure you'll find something that you like. They also come with a lifetime guarantee. I really appreciate their product and the quality of their work, and I hope you will too. Thanks again to The Ridge for sponsoring this video. Alright guys, let's get the show started, but before we do so, let's have a quick look at the German defenses. The Soviet army will be attacking from the right side of the screen, so this trench line here is the first German defense they'll encounter. I wanted to quickly also mention that all the sponsorship money is going back into the community in the shape of maps and mods. A great example of this would be the Finnish Army Pack, which was funded by The Ridge. So thank you guys for sponsoring the video, and thank you, the audience, for visiting the site, being supportive of the sponsorship and everything. It's all going back into the community. You'll be able to enjoy it here on YouTube or in-game yourself. We're going to be creating more maps, and we've got more mods planned in terms of like unit packs and vehicles and things that will be released. So I'm super excited to have that ability to give back to the community, and you're kind of just supporting it by just watching and being supportive. So thank you so much to the audience and of course The Ridge. But now, the German defenses. We have infantry and a few Pak 40 on platforms, as well as a Panzer III towards the end there. So that is the first line. As you've noticed, I haven't really filled the trenches to its maximum with German infantry. For one, it would lag the game, and it doesn't feel realistic, especially considering how realistic this mod actually is. The ranges are so super realistic that the combat just wouldn't make sense if we had all these trenches filled to the brim with German infantry. I would probably do something similar to that in Rob's realism mod, where the ranges are shorter, where you can't have everyone involved at the same time. But troops all the way in the back here by the train station will be attacking the Soviets as soon as they show up, which would be realistic considering the distance, and the effectiveness of most of these AT guns and small arms. They could reach several hundred meters, so that is the distance we're talking about. It'll make sense once we get started, but that is pretty much the situation. Here's sort of the second trench line, which is kind of part of the first one. It's a little further back here. We have a Flak 88. I reckon there's about a company manning the entirety of these trenches. And once again, a lot of these Pak 40 platforms. I think there's a total of 4 here in the first trench. And there should be another 4 in the second trench line back here, beyond the field, closer to the train station. More infantry, another entrenched Panzer III, and we've got some MGs on tripods. Here by sandbags and in the bunkers. We've also got another Flak 88 and a, once again, total of about 100 men defending this trench line as well. So that's some good numbers. Further back here, finally, which is, I'd say this is almost kind of like part of this trench line, but it's not really a trench line, is it? But it's so close to that very same defense. We have the train station. Plenty of packs. We have a few 275mm packs here, not on platforms, but on wheels. One here by the platform itself. Various kinds of platforms. A pack on a platform, and this is a pack on a platform, but it's not actually a pack on a platform. This is a train platform, a train station platform, that's what you call it. But the other one on the sort of like 4 legs sticking out, that's also a pack on a platform. So yeah, that's kind of a wordplay there. We also have some Pak 37 mils on wheels on the platform, a Panzer IV here, some command vehicles posted up further back, lots of infantry. Just have a quick look here, close up at the units, looking very, very good. This is Panzer I, I do believe. And then another, I know this stuff, why am I questioning myself? The moment I say, is this, huh? And then I'm done for. Then I'm questioning myself, and then I'm going to sound unintelligent. I mean, I've been playing these World War II games for 7 years now, and I don't even know if that's a Panzer I. Of course it's a Panzer I. We also have an adjutant in here. I think, no, well, he's an adjutant in terms of, but adjutant isn't really a rank. It's more of a title, more of a role in a way. But I suppose, what is he, a lieutenant perhaps? Or did the adjutant become a more of an official rank? Could have been depending on the army and the nation. But you could have a lieutenant. He could be an adjutant to the commanding captain. And you can have a captain. Perhaps he was an adjutant to the major. You would usually be a lieutenant that would have the role of an adjutant. But once again, meh. Details. Yes, I think that does it for the whole trench walkthrough. The defense walkthrough. I think we're about ready to start this battle. I knew it was going to take a while to go through it, and some of you have probably already skipped to the battle, but we've been pretty efficient. We haven't really looked at every nook and cranny here, but it's a big map, it's a big battle, and the 1st Panzer Army, it's on its way here to reinforce the 6th Army holding right now against overwhelming odds. The Soviets are going to be so many, and I think it's just time to get this battle started. Without further ado, let's enjoy the most realistic World War II experience. It's all available in Totaler Krieg, and of course, the game wouldn't just be too kind to allow me just to... There we go. We're going to have to unclip that. Boom. So that we can move our camera around. It doesn't matter how many times I change it beforehand, it always snaps back to the ground. This is not a mod that you want to enjoy up close to the ground, even though all the models are freaking beautiful. You could really enjoy this in a first-person shooter experience. That is how good the infantry looks. The textures are godlike. But this kind of battle, this kind of experience is probably best enjoyed from up here. You will notice how intense the sound design is. And just the scale, the sense of realism you get from this mod is unrivaled. So we'll do a mix of like eagle view and up close. Frog perspective and eagle or bird perspective, I suppose. We also have a KV-1 there in the end, or in the rear rather, arriving with infantry. A lot of infantry. All the Soviet infantry are actually mounted, dismounted a little closer to the trench lines, but not right up in front of them. That would be too perilous for both the infantry and the armor. Freezes up a bit. That means there's a new wave of units arriving to the battlefield. So, the 2nd Soviet wave is arriving. That Panzer III has gone up in flames. Probably due to a pretty nasty direct hit, perhaps by the KV-1s that are rolling in right now in numbers. So the 2nd wave is going to move a little bit closer before dismounting its infantry. I think that's pretty clever. They're going to try and get closer to the trenches without getting too close. Absolutely brutal. Alright, so let's move back a little bit to give you guys an idea of realism. Look at the units back here. They're engaging, and they're being engaged. You hear all those AT guns and tanks firing? It's just, it echoes throughout the entire battlefield. It's just an insane experience. Oh, okay, it looks like the German light vehicle was hit there by some round that actually made the infantry inside catch on fire. Or the tank crewmen, I suppose. They're not exactly infantrymen. Absolutely brutal. Here come some of the Soviet infantrymen. Lots lots of burning tank wreckages and bullets flying pretty much everywhere. I think they're trying to look out for some German targets right now and partially also getting to safety, which would be the trench line. This battlefield spans over quite a large distance, so we're gonna have to move from end to end. Okay, so we're making, or the Soviets are making some progress here on the left side, seen from the Soviet perspective. T-34 is crossing the first trench line. That KV-1 seemed to have taken a pretty direct hit, but the infantry is fairly safe right here. Super nice unit variety. I can't even see a single duplicate in terms of model, which is just awesome. One KV-1 has crossed the trench line as well, supported by a T-34. This is some good stuff. It looks like they're starting to clear out the first set of trenches here. Lots of German casualties in the trenches. But that that flak is still working. That would concern me if I was a Soviet tanker. Oh. I think what really just amazes me is the sound. All the sort of distant shots, if you zoom out, do you hear that? Just the way the echo remains. It's really mesmerizing, especially if you're an audiophile, which is essentially just a audio freak. It smells like reinforcements. So the Soviets are starting to flank in. They're starting to sort of like bend in over the right side here. They've conquered the left side mostly, and there's even a lot of Soviet infantry among the trenches. Now their remaining job is to take out the right side, which is still pretty strong. It's still standing with plenty of German infantry among the sandbags and trench lines. But we have more armor rolling in. This time the infantry won't dismount until they get up close and personal to the German infantry. Look at the T-34s just spearheading this assault now. Oh! That's nasty. Let's get the infantry out. Holy. Just absolutely reckless driving. And the infantry isn't going to be much safer up close to the enemy. But we're actually finally starting to see some more Soviet numbers on the ground in terms of infantry. The first wave or two were just completely knocked out, given absolutely no chance to get a footing. Oh, here's just that brutal KV-1 rolling up. I love to see that. And of course more infantry. A little cautious at first, I'd say. They're not really super aggressive. The tanks are spearheading most of it, but you can see now they're stretching throughout the entire front line. As soon as they get into the trenches, perhaps they gain some courage and boost their morale here after a pretty violent approach. You know, I'd rather be a German in the trench than a Soviet on top of a T-34. This battle realistically cost the Soviets, I think, up close to 100,000 casualties in like POW or you know, killed in action and captured. Or taken prisoner, I suppose, during the 2 weeks of fighting, which is just insane if you think about it. So you can imagine the amount of people who died on a daily basis during these big assaults. The numbers on the Eastern Front, just, you can't compare it to the Western Front. You can't compare it to any other theater in World War II. I mean, sure, okay, let's not. I spoke too soon, because then I heard Banzai screaming in the right side of my ear, and of course, you know. There were some days in the Pacific that, you know, took thousands and thousands of lives as well, so. But in total tally, in total numbers, the Eastern Front trumped them all. How are we doing back here? Pax still fighting. We do have a downed Panzer III here. And all the infantry right now are engaged. You hear shooting throughout the entire trench line. Let's have a quick look here. Up. Bit of lag freeze there. That's going to mean more troops spawning in. And it's really beneficial to, every now and then, from a sort of comments and, you know, activity engagement rate kind of standpoint, to say some things that are questionable at times. It really sparks a conversation in the comment section, and that's always healthy for a video. Oh, German infantry being hit back here. You can just see at the range here they're engaging. MP40s and K98s firing at several hundred meters now. You can see the Soviet infantry in the distance back there as well. Hoorah! And they're moving closer. I wonder if have they cleaned out this trench? I think so. It's mostly knocked out, cleared out of German troops. Yeah, now we're starting to mass up some infantry here, and more armor rolling down now over the hill, down onto the second trench line. What happened to the tank that was here? Wasn't there a tank here? This game works in many mysterious ways, and I thought there was a tank here. I guess I could be wrong. Well, well. What do you know? Maybe it's moved on elsewhere. Could be over here actually. In fact, I think it has. So there was a tank there at the start, and now it tried to take up a different position. But I mean, it perhaps felt a little bit exposed out there in the open, and I don't blame it. So it did go down though eventually. I wonder where the first German Panzer army is. I think their arrival is it's pretty needed now. Things are getting pretty hectic here in the final defensive line. I mean, the train station has started taking plenty of hits. Most of these 80 guns are knocked out. We got infantry up here by the sort of ditch near the railroad, on the side of the railroad, just opening up at infantry and armor and whatever they can shoot at. It's so cool to see them at this range. It's a men of war experience unlike any other. Oh, the Soviets are pushing in. It's a race against the clock, though. They need to secure the train station with armor and infantry before the reinforcements arrive. The Germans need to hold it. It's going to be so tight. This could literally go either way. That little lag spike tells me something might occur. We got a group of Soviet tanks here in the center. 2 KV-1s and 2 T-34s. Oh my. Was that more Soviets arriving? Oh, it looks like it. A relentless assault now by the Soviet army here. We have tanks up by the final defensive line here. We have infantry outside the train station and here in the right side of the trench line. Do we have any packs working? It doesn't look like it. It looks like infantry is left to fend for themselves here. And we also have some infantry in the train station itself, but the Germans are suffering heavily right now from just severe casualties. The Soviets have been really efficient in their assault. More infantry dismounting now closer to the final trench line. Relentless assault. Yeah, the remaining Germans are right now counting heavily on the arrival of the 1st Panzer Army. They could literally arrive any second now. But will it be early enough for the Germans to have not lost out on the train station? It looks like the lieutenant, or captain inside has been killed. There's a few more men holding the actual train station. I think most of them would be hiding by now. If I were them, I wouldn't stick my head out. There's Soviet armor on the front porch. Whoa! I hear a lot of tanks opening up. Could that be the arrival of the first Panzer army? I think it very well could be. Arriving from various directions in the nick of time. But it's far from settled. This could go either way. We have 3 Panzers arriving from this direction. Oh, they're just going to be opening up in sort of like volleys at the Soviet armor. We have a few more arriving from this direction. They're not going to be as fortunate. They're going to sort of run right into the mouth of the front of the Soviet armor assault. Oh, looks like we have units coming in from the distance back there as well. That's such a nice barrage. Just the 3 tanks, stationary. I love that. Oh, they're taking some counterfire though, but right now they've got a good position on the Soviet armor moving in. 1 tank going down after another. I think the infantry in the trenches are happy to see them, but it's far from settled. This could still very well be a Soviet victory. This battle has just been so colossal from the start of it. Just absolutely insane. We've got some more infantry arriving though, that's nice. Oh, I wonder where he's going. More German units arriving. Vorwärts! That's nice. We got Panzer II spearheading. We got some more Panzer IIIs and 4s behind. Yeah, this is going to add nicely to the German defense. A few T-34s that flanked around might have gotten themselves into a bit of a peculiar spot. We do have German armor back here that is engaged, but we can't see them as of now, which is a shame because, well, the distance and the just overall realism of this is sort of... They're not exactly stressed to move up. They're fine with what they with where they are. But that's just one of the disadvantages of this range, is that sometimes units will be engaging from sort of outside the map, but it's not a major big deal or anything. We got more infantry moving up. Oh, we're securing the train station again, so we're still holding it. With all the Germans inside. And units on this side are stabilizing the situation. We even have some Panzers moving up. Is that a KV-1? Taking a lot of fire right now. That is indeed a KV-1 with disabled tracks taking fire from just all directions. I think I see more infantry moving up here. Also, minor issue that I've been having for some reason. Some of the tank crewmen are checkerboard patterned. Like, I don't know why. I'm sure there's a fix. I'm sure I've done something wrong. I've never experienced it before. Could have something to do with the names of the actual text mods, which would, if it isn't named correctly, it won't apply it. And that could be one of the things, but luckily they haven't been really spotted throughout the video. It's mostly when downed tanks force the crew to evacuate. Then you're gonna see them little checkerboard dudes running around the battlefield. But so far, so good. Mostly. Well, it does look like the first Panzer army arrived in the nick of time. They lost a lot of units sort of just getting into the combat, but now they've stabilized with the second wave. But it just doesn't seem like the battle is over. It's just insane. Most of the fighting back here is stopped. But I see a few... This T-34 is still engaged. I mean, this is just absolutely nuts. Soviet infantry, well, I think most of them were killed approaching the trenches. They captured the first line, but they're gonna have a hard time securing the second one now, as more and more units are arriving. Absolutely fantastic. Look at this, more German infantry arriving from this side as well. Weiter geht's! That's awesome. And just to wrap up the video with sort of the most realistic experience here is a checkerboard dude. Don't let it ruin the experience, though. I'm sure there's a reason behind that. And I don't think it'll reappear. Wow. Do we want to look at casualties? I suppose we do. Let's highlight the Soviets in red. I think that's more appropriate. And the Germans in yellow. Yellow. We even got more infantry arriving from the back here. It's cool. They're not all arriving in like 1,000 men at once. It seems like they're moving in. Of course, sometimes I speak like I'm clueless. When I've made the entire battle, I would know what's happening. But sometimes it's easy to forget what you've done when you've worked on a battle for many, many hours, spanning a few days. Thank you guys for watching this video. This is the casualty look. I just feel like hundreds have been killed here today. It's been a long, lengthy battle, but to get this kind of scale and length would require a lot more casualties in, say, Rob's Realism mod or any other Men of War Assault Squad 2 mod. But this is Totaler Krieg for Battle of Empires. A totally justified reason to purchase that World War I game that has a kind of an ambitious single-player campaign with lots of units and awesomeness, but overall not my kind of preferred experience. But this mod for that game, just purchase it. This justifies it entirely. And it is such a bloody nice mod. Okay, we have some more armor rolling in now. Actually, they were positioned back here. They're just disengaged and moving forward to secure the area. Awesome. I think, you know what? I think there's a tiger back here, but I just can't see it. It's a shame it didn't show up. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. And I'll see you guys soon again. Ciao.